PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here in the sports entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. So it has been an exciting season to be a Vegas Golden Knights fan. It has been a lot of fun. There's been some ups. There's definitely been some downs, but mostly there's been some ups. But while most people have been focusing on the NHL team and the success of the Vegas Golden Knights, I want to look at the minor league aspect of the Vegas Golden Knights. How is their AAA affiliate? How is the AHL, the Henderson Silver Knights? How is Henderson performing? How about we go down to the ECHL? Why don't we talk about AA and talk about the Savannah Ghost Pirates? How are they performing for the Vegas Golden Knights? So on tonight's episode here on Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media, your host Ian Rachiele will start out with the Henderson Silver Knights and give you a recap of what has happened lately and some notable players that have been doing well in Henderson. So we'll kick it off by going to the beginning of that month, and that was when the Henderson Silver Knights took on the San Diego Gulls at the first of the month. They were riding a very big high. We're going on a 4-game winning streak for Henderson, and they got the job done on the road in San Diego. They won 6-5. Brendan Brisson had a 3-point performance, so not bad for the sophomore campaign here in Henderson for a top prospect in Vegas and Brendan Brisson. You also had Gimel Smith have a 2-goal performance. So you had the Henderson Silver Knights getting their 4th straight victory to start out the month as they beat the San Diego Gulls 6-5. You also had some good performances from Pavel Dorofeev and Giannis Roundbeer. So you had some really solid performances out there for your Henderson Silver Knights when they beat San Diego 6-5 to begin the year. They continue this by trying to go for 5 straight victories the next night when they come home to the Dollar Loan Center and take on the Vancouver Canucks affiliate, the Abbotsford Canucks. And not only did the Henderson Silver Knights accomplish what they were set out to do, but their goalie for the first start of the season was ECHL call-up Isaiah Saville, who recorded 33 saves, let up only 2 goals in a 5-2 victory to give them 5 straight wins for the Henderson Silver Knights to begin the month of March. You also had Gimel Smith have a 3-point performance, and you also had Daniil Myromanov have a first period goal that was set up very well. So for the Henderson Silver Knights to have back-to-back wins to continue a 5-game winning streak, honestly the longest winning streak the Henderson Silver Knights had all season, it was building momentum. It was building progress for your Henderson Silver Knights. Now, those were the first 2 games. Now, they also are going to stay at the Dollar Loan Center. They'll continue their series with the Abbotsford Canucks 2 days later on March 4th, and they get their win. They win 3-2 in a nice shootout to beat the Abbotsford Canucks and to continue their winning streak on the season. You also had Gimel Smith with the shootout winner, and you had Sheldon Rampel scoring goals as well. You had some solid performances from 2 young prospects in Lucas Cormier and Brendan Brisson. As a matter of fact, Brendan Brisson got an assist in the game. Cormier got assist as well. And Yuri Patera had 32 saves on only 34 shots. So him and Seville were being a solid goaltending net for your Henderson Silver Knights. So they're winning all these games to begin the month of March, back-to-back wins to start out the month. But could it continue for your Henderson Silver Knights? Could their winning streak continue in Henderson? Well, the next game, they go up against the Coachella Valley Firebirds and that streak comes to an end. They lose on the road 6-3 in a crushing loss. Now, I will say the one notable about this game was Sheldon Rample. Sheldon Rample scored a goal. That would be one of the couple of games in a row that Sheldon Rample lit up the net for the Henderson Silver Knights. Brendan Bryson having his second goal in 3 games in the month of March. He also had Daniil Myromanoff scoring once again for your Henderson Silver Knights. So you really are seeing in the month of March Sheldon Rample, Brendan Bryson, Daniil Myromanoff. You're seeing that Lucas Cormier, they are all making some good stat sheets in Henderson to begin the month. And it was a really solid performance by Henderson. I give them a lot of credit for what they did this month. So the Henderson Silver Knights, they did exceptionally. They got their first loss in 4 games, but it's okay. You're going to shake it off. That's what happens. Now, the next series the Henderson Silver Knights had to go up against was the San Diego Gulls. And they actually had a back-to-back series, and it was on the road in San Diego, and they lost both games. They lost the first one 2-0, and they lost the second one 4-2. Now, the one part I will mention is that these Henderson Silver Knights, Isaiah Seville, their goaltender they got from the ECHL, they called them up due to injuries in the NHL. They had to bring somebody up to the AHL. He has been part of the Henderson Silver Knights for an entire month now. Him and Jordan Papirny are now your starting goaltenders for the Henderson Silver Knights. So you're not really having Yuri Patera. Michael Hutchinson's no longer here. He got traded. You have Laurent Brisebois. He is now in the NHL because of the injuries. He is now a member of your Vegas Golden Knights. So you're seeing some 2 guys who are about 20 and 26 respectively, that they are your goaltenders in Henderson right now to end the year. But yeah, Isaiah Seville, he had an excellent performance in that 2-0 loss. He made 1 or 2 mistakes, but he had a near perfect performance for your Henderson Silver Knights. They just couldn't get the puck in the back of the net. And that 4-2 loss to San Diego in the middle of the month. Yes, Lucas Cormier got a goal once again for the Henderson Silver Knights, doing what he had done for majority of the month. You had Camille Smith with another assist, Gage Quinney back to back to back, and that's what set him in. So as we're talking about the Henderson Silver Knights and kind of recapping what happened to your Henderson Silver Knights in the month of March here on Vegas Hockey Hub, here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. So as we're continuing our coverage here, you had 4 games left, and they lost on the road in San Jose on March 15th, 6-2, and it was a very crushing loss. Now, Brendan Bryson scoring once again. That was near his 4th goal in the month of March. You also had Braden Pahal. He scored a goal for the Henderson Silver Knights as well. I mean, this is a guy who was an all-star for the Henderson Silver Knights, their only AHL all-star a couple of months ago. You had Giannis Roundbeer, Daniil Myromanoff. They had some assists as well. The problem is that the San Jose Barracuda had 5 unanswered goals, and that's just really the situation this season. The Henderson Silver Knights, when they make progress and they do some good, it just feels like they have 3 or 4 back-to-back games where everything goes wrong, where the goaltending gets let up or the defense caves in. It's just an unfortunate situation, but that is what's happening with Henderson. You start out the month with 4 straight victories, and then you lose 3 in a row. It's just the way the Henderson Silver Knights have been for majority of the year. But I will say the progress that the players have made for the Henderson Silver Knights is very valuable. The progress and the evaluation that I'm seeing from players like Brendan Bryson, like Lucas Cormier, Braden Pahal, there is some really good up-and-coming players that should be a good, useful player for the Vegas Golden Knights in the long-term future. Well, they're getting their reps, right? They're getting every single game. They're getting better and better, and they're being evaluated here in Henderson. So March 17th and March 18th, they have a back-to-back against the Bakersfield Condors, the affiliate of the Edmonton Oilers. And they lost the first game. All right, they lose the first game, a 1-0 loss. Once again, Jordan Papirny in his first AHL start was near perfect. I mean, this was a guy who only gave up one goal, and that was at the 15-minute mark in the second period. So he didn't let up a goal in the first period, didn't let up a goal in the third period. His main problem is that nobody put the puck in the back of the net for the Henderson Silver Knights. But the goaltending was excellent for the Henderson Silver Knights in that game. There's nothing you could say about that when it comes to how he performed. In fact, being his first AHL start for Papirny, 33 out of 34 shots, that's his 97% save percentage. That is an excellent debut for goaltender Jordan Papirny. The second game, however, when they go from Bakersfield, they come back home to the Dollar Loan Center on Saturday, on the Saturday evening. They beat the Bakersfield Condors at home 5-3. Gage Quinney, the Las Vegas native, he scored 4 points on the day for the Henderson Silver Knights. I also have to give a lot of credit to Jonas Roundbeer. He scored the empty net to secure the victory late in the game. Lucas Cormier had an assist on the Zachary Mannanen goal in the second period. And you also had Jake Bischoff, who had a shorthanded goal. Shout out to Jake Bischoff, by the way. He has been part of the Vegas Golden Knights all 6 years that he has been in the system for the Vegas Golden Knights. Came from that original expansion draft. And then Isaiah Seville earned his first point of the season in a win for the Henderson Silver Knights. So I'm noticing kind of a theme here for the Henderson Silver Knights. You had Papirny and you have Seville, who are two goaltenders who are trying to make a name for themselves and trying to prove it in Henderson. And I think they did pretty well in the month of March. March 25th, when they had to take on the Coachella Firebirds, they had Las Vegas Thunder Night. They wore some retro Las Vegas Thunder jerseys, and these were the team that was in the 90s, the International Hockey League back in the day. And thanks to their SHK Authentic program, they were sold at Lifeguard Arena on March 25th. And they were authentic jerseys that were actually played in the real game. So that was actually cool that on March 25th, you were at the Lifeguard Arena, you were able to go and get a jersey of the Las Vegas Thunder. You wanted to get a throwback, a reverse retro of the Henderson Silver Knights. It was a nice touch. And then the last two games of the March for the Henderson Silver Knights, they took on the Seattle Kraken AHL affiliate, and that was the Coachella Valley Firebirds. And at Dollar Loan Center, it was a first game in Henderson, second game in Coachella. And the game in Henderson at the Dollar Loan Center, it was a win for the Henderson Silver Knights. So the Henderson Silver Knights picked up the victory 7-4 on the night. Gage Quinney, he reached a career milestone, 200 points in the AHL when he had a 4-point performance for your Henderson Silver Knights. I also want to point out that when it came to the Henderson Silver Knights, you also had Zachary Mannanen. He had a goal. He actually scored a hat trick in this game in a 7-4 victory for your Henderson Silver Knights. You also had Captain Braden Pahal almost complete a assist hat trick, him getting almost 3 assists in the game. And Brendan Bryson once again getting his 4th and final goal of the month for your Henderson Silver Knights. It really looks like Brendan Bryson in this last month, over the last 10 games, has really impressed and has really gotten better as a AHLer. And I will not be surprised if Brendan Bryson eventually gets a call up to the NHL, not this year, but maybe next season. The Vegas Golden Knights can have Brendan Bryson, their former first-round pick, be a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. So I will say when it comes to Brendan Bryson, he showed a lot of progress in the month of March. Now, they almost had the reverse score in Coachella. They won 7-4 on Friday. They lose 7-3 on Saturday. And you had Sheldon Rample. He scored a goal in the game. Gage Quinney, he had another assist for the Henderson Silver Knights. And you had Lucas Cormier with an unassisted goal, adding another goal to his list. So as you're talking about the Henderson Silver Knights, I mean, their win-loss record in the month of March, it was around 5-6. So it was around 500. Not terrible, not great, but to me, it was all about progress of the players. And I feel like that's really been a vocal point of the Henderson Silver Knights this season. The fact that they are a team that needs that when it comes to developing players is what matters. Now, there is 3 storylines that happened in the month of March involving the Henderson Silver Knights that I have to mention. The first one is that at the last week of March, Henderson Silver Knights Gage Quinney was named AHL Player of the Week with his 8-point performance again in that week. So the fact that Gage Quinney had 2 goals and 4 assists in a single week got him AHL Player of the Week in the last month of March. And with Jari Patera being in his debut, him having 2 NHL starts and going 2-0 for the Vegas Golden Knights, him coming back to Henderson is unlikely considering the success he had in that role for the Henderson Silver Knights. But what I will say is when it comes to Jari Patera, the fact that he made his NHL debut, went 2-0 for the Vegas Golden Knights, was fantastic, and I give all the credit in the world to Jari Patera. And the last thing that happened in this month that I do have to mention is Daniil Myromanov. Him coming back, being a full-time member of the Henderson Silver Knights, it is noticeable that he has been one of the best defensemen on the Henderson Silver Knights all year long. So the fact that he has come back and he is a full-time member of the Henderson Silver Knights again, that is a notable part. Now, I'm not going to talk about every single player from the Henderson Silver Knights, but I'm going to mention 4 players. Because these 4 players was constantly, and I mean constantly, in the headlines over the last month. The first one is not only the AHL Player of the Week from last month, but this is a guy who has a 56 points, leads the Henderson Silver Knights in points this season, and that is Gage Quinney. Now, Gage Quinney in the month of March was fantastic, like I mentioned, but his season statistics for the Henderson Silver Knights in 61 games has 23 goals, 56 points, and only 12 penalty minutes in the AHL. I mean, having 12 penalty minutes in the AHL is almost impossible with all the fighting and all the pushing and shoving that happens. But what I want to mention is that he has 12 power play points out of the 56 points he's had this year. He's also had 2 game-winning goals and has had near 160 shots for the Henderson Silver Knights. So for Gage Quinney, this has been the best player for your Henderson Silver Knights all year long. I mean, Gage Quinney, the Las Vegas native, the 27-year-old who became the first player in the state of Nevada to play an NHL game. The fact that he has had this excellent March, once again, I'm going to give you the stats just to put this into perspective. Gage Quinney had 3 goals, and that doesn't sound like much. But when I tell you that he had 19 points in that month, 3 goals, 16 assists in a single month for Gage Quinney, that is an excellent performance by Gage Quinney. He did a fantastic job for the Henderson Silver Knights, and I get why he has had called up every once in a while by the Vegas Golden Knights. The 27-year-old has proven that he could be a reliable player for your Henderson Silver Knights. I mean, 19 points in a single month is a lot of good with the Henderson Silver Knights. The second one is Sheldon Rample. Now, Sheldon Rample, he was an off-season acquisition back in the 2022 NHL offseason. He is a veteran of the AHL, and you can see based off his point production that he knows what he's doing. In 65 games, he has had 23 goals, 53 points, and a whopping 48 penalty minutes. And he has had over 232 shots for the Henderson Silver Knights. Now, in the month of March, his goal production is what I have to take note. He has scored 7 goals in the month of March. That's right. He had 7 goals in the month of March. And this is a guy that he has had 12 points, and that was 7 of them being goals. So he was the guy lighting up the back of the net for your Henderson Silver Knights when they needed him to. So on the opposite side of Gage Quinney, who had 3 goals and 16 assists, you had Sheldon Rample, who had 7 goals and 5 assists in the month of March. So Sheldon Rample and Gage Quinney being 2 of the best players for your Henderson Silver Knights. But let's talk about the 2 top prospects of your Henderson Silver Knights. Let's talk about the top 2 prospects for the Vegas Golden Knights as of right now. The first one is their top prospect, 21-year-old defenseman Lucas Cormier. And Lucas Cormier, 60 games played, 10 goals, 25 assists, and 40 penalty minutes. Now, when it comes to Lucas Cormier, I mentioned that the month of March, he elevated his game each game at a time. And I mentioned that for a reason. He had 2 goals, which doesn't sound like much. 3 assists, doesn't sound like much. But what he did in terms of time on ice is very valuable. This was a guy in Lucas Cormier that was consistently getting a lot of minutes on ice, was getting those repetitions, was getting those reps for the Henderson Silver Knights. And you could see, and I watched Lucas Cormier at the Dollar Loan Center recently, and he felt more comfortable. You could tell that he knew that he belonged on the ice for your Henderson Silver Knights. So for Lucas Cormier, I give a lot of credit to him because not only being a top prospect for your Vegas Golden Knights, but him having this comfortability. This is a guy at only 21 years of age who looks like a future piece of your Vegas Golden Knights, and I expect him to be in the NHL by next year, no doubt about it. And the second top prospect we got to mention is a guy I've talked about a lot here on Vegas Hockey Hub, and that is Brendan Brisson. Now, Brendan Brisson was their former first-round pick back in 2020, and he had a slow start to the year. Let's not try to sugarcoat it. Brendan Brisson had a lot of expectations heading into the year. Being a first-round pick, that makes a lot of nerves, and that has a lot of expectations that come with it. Well, Brendan Brisson in the past month has proven a lot of people wrong in Henderson. Brendan Brisson has 5 goals in the last month. And not only that, this is a guy in Brendan Brisson who has consistently getting the puck to the right person, 11 points on the year. So you have a guy in Brendan Brisson with 3 goals and 8 assists in the month of March. He just looks like he's getting more comfortable on the ice. It feels like he really knows what he is doing at this point for your Henderson Silver Knights. And I will give credit where credit is due. His stats don't look amazing, but you have to take into account his slow start for that. 53 games played, 13 goals, 31 points, and 56 penalty minutes for Brendan Brisson. This is also the same guy who had 8 points in 7 games last year. A lot of people thought maybe he would be on a point-per-game pace heading into year 2, but unfortunately he did not. So 31 points in 53 games for Brendan Brisson, and I will say that is a good situation there. So this was our Henderson Silver Knights minor league report here for the Vegas Hockey Hub, here in the sports entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. And this was a fantastic episode. And until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. and we will have another fantastic episode for you in the future.